Hi beloveds. So it's been a little time since I've done a video. Have been going through quite some processing and looking at different things. And a lot of what's been coming up for me is around expectations. That people are saying what they are, or are doing what they are saying. And I went through quite I would say, a sad stage of realizing something that had been offered was not truly what was being offered. And there was disappointment, sadness, if one could say, some sort of having to face looking from a different place. And sitting with it, seeing that it is very difficult often for people in the so-called society or so-called world to be in a situation where they sometimes say things or do things because they feel they need to, because it's expected of them, because it's family, because of whatever. And it's to realize that it's very difficult for many people to actually say no. And the only trouble is that what I'm understanding is if we say yes, when we really don't have a true yes, then the energy which is behind is really a no. So we have to really look and see that if we are offering something, we either follow through with that, or if we can't follow through with it, we have enough courage to turn around and just say, look, I'm sorry, I can't do that anymore, I can't offer that anymore. And not be afraid to do that. Because if we don't be clear, then what happens is that we leave somebody with an expectation that there is an openness, and then people get very confused. Well, I got very confused. So now I have also realized that we have this, one of my deepest things is an expectation that family can be there. And I have realized that obviously with my life I am doing very different things. I think very differently. I can no longer be bullied and pushed to do what somebody else wants me to do. So saying that, I will then speak up. And if I speak up, of course, if you are in a more unconscious, and I don't mean that as being superior, but if you are you are seeing more, that means that the collective will believe what they want to believe, and maybe you think differently, or you see things differently, and you can no longer support that what you see as a lie or what you see as not true. And in saying that, you are going to at times not fit in with the collective. This takes quite some courage to step outside of the collective and what is felt to be right. Though once one does, one has to sometimes drop and let things go, and the ground shakes underneath you, and you don't quite know where you're going or how it's going to work out. But all I can say to you is that as you make space, as you walk through this uncomfortableness, which is being authentic to yourself, you will find that maybe you go through a time of aloneness, and it might be lonely for you, but it's like you're not ready to compromise your truth or your understanding to maybe be comfortable or to be part of a collective that no longer feels correct for you anymore. So this does take some courage to step outside of the known. All I can say is that in this past month or so, I have been looking at this on another level, on a deeper level, and letting go of much of the so-called security that I felt was there. Existence must have this lesson for me to understand that I am cared for by this existence, and understanding that at times this doesn't always come from your blood family or your relatives, and not because they are wrong or bad people, but because the deepest conditioning is often with the blood family, and because they've been around you for longest, they often know your hooks. And to realize that when one thing sometimes closes and one chooses to stay in the authenticity, or just stay in the center with it for a little bit, not knowing where you're going or what you're going to do, and then if you can just keep taking a deep breath and relaxing your ass, and maybe having a good cry sometimes, or having a good laugh, because it does sometimes hurt, then I can only say that my experience is that existence will often offer you something very different, and you can be amazed at the generosity of maybe people who are not your blood relatives, or people who don't really even know you so well. So, beloveds, I'm saying, have the courage to follow your nose, have the courage to go places where it smells right, it smells sweet for you, and where it nurtures you, and watch and see where you are asked to compromise your truth and your authenticity and your uniqueness. And that doesn't mean that the people are wrong, but you have to choose what you choose to step up or not. The more you mature, the more you will be tested to live your truth and be the walking of it. So much is happening. I thought this year I was going to go to Australia and spend some time there, looking to relocate at some stage back to Australia in the next years. And I don't really have so many friends there now after being in India for 25 years. So it will be stepping back into a very new way, and seeing how I live and where I live and what I do. If anybody has any ideas, if they're in Australia and they see this and they think of anything, please, happy for your feedback. But as this door didn't seem to open easily this year, so suddenly I found that I was offered a beautiful place to stay in Bristol in England by a lovely friend that I had only just met, and she has offered me her house for like 6 weeks, end of April and May, and which is spring in England, which is my favourite time. I love spring in England, and I don't know Bristol very well. My sister lives there, but that's another thing. And she's offered me her house to stay in, and she's also offered me her car to use. So I feel very blessed by this, and this is from somebody who I had at that time only known for a week. So it looks like instead of going to Australia and even opening that up, it looks like this year I will come to England in spring in Bristol, and we will see what existence wants me to do there, and why it's got me there, and this is the adventure. But when one is moving in these times, I have seen that it is not possible to have too much expectation too far ahead, because things are changing so fast on the planet. And sometimes existence needs you to put your energy somewhere else. So we will see if as this unfolds. It looks like then I will come back through Paris and see some of my very beautiful friends there, some of my young ones who are shining and are doing really beautiful things. And I have an invite there, so on the way back to India next year it'll be coming through Paris. I haven't bought my ticket yet, so let's see if this unfolds. So what I'm saying is sometimes be aware that we have an expectation that it should come from here. And sometimes, because we are holding very tight to that, we forget to see that it maybe has to come from somewhere else. And so really come back to yourself and see where the flow is going, where it is moving easily. And be ready to do a 180-degree turn and do something different. We have ideas about where life will take us and what it will do, and sometimes it's going to take us somewhere else. And this is the spontaneity of this time. It takes quite some courage to jump off the edge. So take your time, go slowly, and see what unfolds. Listen to that voice inside yourself. Make space, maybe to formally meditate or just to spend time with yourself, so that you can allow yourself to be listening to the inner voices and the guidance by this beautiful existence. It is taking care of us. And really, to be truly alive, sometimes the earth has to be shaking a little under your feet. And then you take a deep breath and you keep moving, and you see the beauty of life unfolding. Because if we have expectations of people who cannot do what maybe they say they will do or what we want them to do, dropping these expectations also. So my beloved ones, this is me, and that's why it's called Suchira Gibberish. I wish you a most beautiful day. And last night there was just this incredible feeling of how blessed I am. That in this moment, that I have a beautiful roof over my head, that I live in a beautiful home, that I have food in the fridge, that I have people that care and love me, that I have people that I care and love, that there is love, that there is kindness. Sometimes it just doesn't come from the spaces that one might want it to come from or express it. And then we have to watch not being beggars, not beggaring ourselves for something that is not coming easily. People are all where they need to be, and everybody's doing the best that they can do. One sees it and one chooses to try not to be too much in the judging of it, and not get lost in the story of it. And say, okay, existence, if this door is closing, what is opening? Where am I supposed to be? Let's have a little look and try and find the adventure in that. Of course, at times it can be scary, and I understand that. But if you just go a little bit slower, take a deep breath and see where the doors are opening, see if you get any little hints or you get any little ideas in your head, and suddenly you put a Facebook thing out and you say, look, I'm looking to do something or whatever. And be ready to be in the adventure. There's a lot on the planet with all the news and everything that is very scary, and if we get lost in that, we can get lost in that. But it really brings us back to the moments when something happens and it shocks you. You have to come back to the moment and just be here and now. And in this here and now, you might find that you suddenly go and find yourself buying an airline ticket or arranging something, or something is being arranged spontaneously. And then you come back to this moment. And you keep finding, even in the small things, you find the beauty in the small things. Even if sometimes it's shocking and things happen and you feel the rug gets pulled from underneath you. And there is sadness, there is deep disappointment maybe. And then you take a deep breath and you take the next step and you find the beauty in each moment. It's just a knack. But it makes life it actually makes you more secure, even in this insecurity of the moments. If you know and love yourself, and you can come back to this space. This is the only ground that we have now, to just keep stepping into the new and trusting that we are taken care of. And every time we follow and have the courage to be authentic and to be in our integrity, that does not mean that we will be liked. We will really stir a lot of people up just by being that. So we have to accept that they cannot sometimes accept us, and they are not bad people because of that. They are where they are, you are where you are, and it's up to you. What do you choose? And I really encourage you, choose the moments, choose to find, to not ignore the sadness, not enjoy the shakiness, not deny that things are sometimes difficult, but to see and find in the smallest of things how beautiful this life can be. So I send you much love from here. It's been a deep process for me for the last month or so. And I send you much love. And wish you courage to step into the new, courage to step into what you know is correct. Because we all know when we're being off, and we all know when we're being in our cleanness. So try and be in your most authentic truth. Basically, you're doing it for you. Because when you do that, then it follows. Everything follows that. So my beloved ones, I wish you a beautiful morning or afternoon. I don't know where I am. Probably after 12, so it's probably afternoon here in Pune. I send you much love, and I send you much courage. Keep stepping into the authentic truth and the moments. Find the juice in the small moments, and just take it one step at a time. Take a deep breath. Love you.